Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Zen and this is another JavaScript Basics video where we are going to be looking at JavaScript numbers, integers, fixed points and floating points. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so before we go any further, here's a little bit of insider knowledge for you. Technically, all values, all numerical values in JavaScript is actually saved as a floating point value. It doesn't matter if it's an integer or a fixed point, it is still stored as a floating point value. But unlike strings, it does recognize the difference, and we'll look at that as we go along. But the first thing to do here is obviously create our first number type, which is integer. And the format used to create our integer is almost identical to that of a string. We start off with our keyword let. We follow it by the variable name we want to give our name value pair. So we'll go with my int. And then we have our space. And then we put in our value. The difference here is that the numerical value does not have the single quotes, double quotes, or back quotes, backticks applied to it. It is just a number on its own, standing proud, as it were. Okay, and we can do some tests on these, which we'll do towards the end of this video to check that it is a number. But that is essentially the way that you create a integer in JavaScript. The second number type, like we said, is fixed point, and it is almost identical, except for we add the fractional value. So we go for let my fixed underscore 1 equals 3.14, semicolon at the end to terminate the statement, and that is how we create a fixed point number. We can also do it with just a fractional part. So and I also believe you can do it without deleting 0. So is also allowed. Okay, notice there's no errors, there's no squiggly lines to tell us there's a problem. And we can check that these are right, all three of these are right. In fact, checking the top one is right as well by using a built-in function called typeof. And we will put that inside of the console log so we can actually see the values come out. So let's just try this at the top with the my int. So we do console.log, and then we use the function typeof, and then another set of parentheses or brackets with my int being the first one, semicolon, and then to save us a bit of time, we can copy that and paste it into the other ones, and then obviously just change these from my int to my fixed 1, my fixed 2, and my fixed 3. Okay, so we'll do Control S and save, and we'll see the update on the right hand side. And as you can see, they are all classed as numbers. Okay, number. We can also check that using the strings as well to make sure that they are also taken as strings. So again, let's just copy this, put it in there, and instead of my int, let's call it first name. Let's make that message, and then just put a new line in there and make that my char. And so what we expect to see is on the printout string followed by number, 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 number. Control S to save, and then we have it. So proof these are strings, proof these are numbers. Okay. Then we have the floating point number, which is perhaps the most complex one out of them all. And it's not complex, it's just that when you see numbers in standard form, a lot of people don't always understand it. Okay, so let's just do the first part. So let my float equals. So the way that it's done is, in case you're unsure, with a floating point number or standard form, you start off with the first significant figure. Okay, so let's just say, you know, what we're putting 2 here. Then it's followed by the period or fractional point, which we use at this point. And then the rest of the significant numbers. And then instead of using the times 10 notation, we use the letter E. And then the index E bit, the number that we're saying how many times we want to move that fractional point, we put in here. So let's make that 6. So this is the equivalent of saying 2.345 times 10 to the power of 6, which basically says we want to move this fractional point 6 places to the right. Okay, and again we'll do a console log. First thing we do is actually a console log of the actual number, because that's quite interesting. Well, I think it is, but then I don't get out much, so what do you expect? And then we'll do a console log of the type of. Okay, so what we expect to come out is the same stuff up here already. Then we expect to see, well, what will this come out as? You know, will we see it as 2.345 E6? Will that come up here? Would it be it in the proper standard form, as in 2.345 times 10 to the power of 6, or will we see something else? And then finally, how does the program actually view the number? So let's just do Control S to save it. And now what you see is that he's actually translated the floating point number into basically into the integer. It's worked it out for us. And you can see it there. It's 2,345,000. So using that notation, we can see it does work. And obviously this is for a semi-large number, but we could equally, we'll just copy and paste it below. Instead of making it +6, we can use a -6 to make the incredibly small number. And oops, it's telling me uncall identifier. Okay. Oh, it's already been declared, so that's just, yeah. And I forgot to put in the semicolon at the end. So let's call it myFloat2. Okay. So then again, all the strings or the numbers, and then you can see number again for this one here for myFloat2, and now we can see it is the very small number. Okay, with the 5 zeros and the 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, just a confirmation that it is a number. Okay, so essentially that is all you really need for this bit, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a Brucey bonus, if you like, a little bit of extra for this video, and that is basically within JavaScript there are ways of actually checking the number type. And when I say there is, it's actually really for the integer. You can actually, it has a built-in function to check for the integer. So the way we do this is that we use the number object of JavaScript. And so what we're going to do here is add another console log. And we're going to use, like I say, essentially an object, and I need to spell it correctly, number dot, and we're going to use its method, which is integer. There we go, is integer. And then we're going to pass it again the my int. And then we shall repeat that process for after our first fractional. We're not going to do it for all of them, there's no point. Okay, so instead of my int, we're going to call this my fix1. Okay, so let's save it and see what happens. And we can see here we get the number true, or sorry, the word true, and we can check that by going across here and seeing here it is tester line 10, and line 10, that's where the check is. The next check we can see is on line 13, and we can see false here, and we follow this across and we can see line 13, one test, and that one there, which was line 10 for the first one. And there you have it. Okay, there isn't, funny enough, a check for a floating point number. You would have thought, because it's actually stored as a floating point number internally, that there is a floating point number check, and there isn't one. There is a method we can use, a program we can, a little function that we can write to do that, but that's beyond the scope and the need of this video. So I shall stop there. That is the end of this video. I'm Sen. Don't forget to comment and ask any questions you need to. I'll see you in the next video. This is Sen signing out.